Hello, my name is Jennifer Wilson, and I'm with the Gulfport School District. And today we're here to talk about fourth grade standard RL.4.2, determining the theme of a story, drama, or poem. Let's get started. So first thing is, what is theme? Theme is that important lesson or message that the author wants you to learn. You're going to find theme in all of your fiction stories. You're going to find them in your plays, and you're also going to find them in your poems. So let's talk about how do you find the theme. Okay, one thing in theme is the author is not going to come out and say, here is the theme of the story, or let me tell you the lesson you're going to learn. What you have to do is you have to infer, or you have to read between the lines to figure out the message. And also, you have to use some of that background knowledge. Maybe you've experienced something and you can relate to the story or relate to the poem or relate to the play. But you're going to have to do that because it's not going to come out and say what it is. So let's look at examples of some themes that you probably have seen in stories before. So some common themes are loyalty, being loyal to someone or being loyal to something. Bravery, someone who shows a lot of bravery, and you'll see that in a lot of stories. And then also friendship, how to be a good friend, and then also finding out those friends that are not those good friends you once thought they were. Another one is good versus evil. And we see this a lot in our comic books, and you might have even seen this in, movies, anything with superheroes. You've seen good versus evil, but what that really means is the good guys versus the bad guys. Kindness. Kindness is another common one. We always talk about treating others with respect, treating others the way you want to be treated, that golden rule. And then also hard work pays off. If you do what you're supposed to and you put in the effort, you're going to see good results. And then also doing what is right, making those good choices. We see that a lot in fourth grade stories, talking about making the good decisions and not making the bad decisions. Also being patient, waiting for those things that you want so bad. You might read a story about someone who had to wait for a long time to finally get something that they really wanted. And then the last one is honesty. Being honest with other people. Honesty is the best policy. You may have heard that before, but those are common themes that you see throughout literature. So now we're going to look at some examples of some stories to where we can see why it is that particular theme. And this particular story is about friendship. So we're going to take a look and see what is going on in the story to figure out what lesson we see and how they came up with the theme for friendship. Easton was a loyal friend, always kind and always trying to help others. Recently, he had started hanging out with 3 new friends, and he was beginning to realize the kind of people they really were. Jackson was always playing practical jokes on other people and thought it was hilarious. One weekend, Easton came up with the best practical joke ever. But when he did it, Jackson stayed mad at him for the rest of the day. Preston loved to make up not so nice names for other people, but when Easton had called him Preston the Beston this weekend, Preston gave him a dirty look, snarling that it wasn't nice to make up names for people. Then there was Carlton, who was always poking fun at Easton's curly hair. During a trip to the movies, Easton pointed out a curl on Carlton's head. Carlton swatted his hand away, angrily telling him that it was nothing like the mop of curly hair. Suddenly, it dawned on Easton that these new friends couldn't take a dose of their own medicine. Not only that, but he didn't like the way that they treated people, and he didn't want to treat people that way either. It was definitely time for some new friends. These weren't the kind of people he wanted to be around. Okay, so with this particular story, we see that Easton has some new friends. He's probably wanting to impress these friends. And then he realizes after a while that these friends aren't the friends that he originally thought that they were. In the story, he talks about how the friends couldn't take a dose of their own medicine. So they could make fun of people, they could call people names, but they didn't like to be made fun of and had names made up for them either. So Easton learns that these are not the kind of friends that he wants to be around. So that's a life lesson that he learns. Be friends with people who are a lot like you, and you can learn from them. And then also keep away from those bad friends that might be a little bit on the toxic side. Let's look at another example. Okay, we have patience pays off. So let's look at our story and see what lesson we can learn from our character in the story. It was only a few days before Rebecca's dance recital that she was checking the mail every day for her custom-made recital outfit. Thursday came and went, and there was no package in the mail. The show was soon, and Rebecca began to panic, nervous that she would have to wear one of her old outfits, so plain and drab in comparison to the rest of the recital team. When the outfit wasn't in the mail on Friday morning, she begged her mom to go buy a different outfit from a local store. Her mom told her to be patient, reminding her that the outfits had always showed up on time. She spent the entire night worrying about the outfit, afraid that she would be made fun of for wearing an outfit that didn't match. Saturday morning, she was awoken by the sound of her doorbell ringing. Racing to the door, she crossed every finger and toe, hoping that it was her recital outfit. Sure enough, in the plain box lay the most beautiful recital dress she had ever seen. It was perfect with the sparkles in just the right place and a layer of lace around her waist that made her look like a princess. Later that evening, as she stood sparkling on the stage, perfectly matching the rest of the ballerinas, she was so glad she decided to wait for this outfit to arrive. So with our character Rebecca, she's probably driving her mom crazy about this outfit, thinking it's never going to come. But her mom assures her that every other outfit has come on time and this one will too. But instead, Rebecca is waiting up all night, just worrying herself to death over this outfit. And sure enough, it comes, and she's able to perform in her recital along with her other friends. And the dance goes off just like it was supposed to after all. So with this, we see that being patient actually worked in Rebecca's favor. Let's look at another theme. Okay, we have courage. Finding the courage to get through something. David peered down the steep embankment. His ball sat at the bottom of the cliff, and he knew the only way he was going to get it back was by finding a way down. If it had been any other ball, he would have left it to be swept up by the rising water, but it was the soccer ball that had been signed by David Beckham himself. There was no way he was going to leave it behind. David's heart pounded and his palms were sweaty. He began to edge his foot toward the side of the drop-off, but as soon as he started to go down the hill, he pulled his foot back up, terrified of going any further. With a deep breath, David took a leap and tumbled down the hill. When he hit the ground, he couldn't believe that he actually made the jump. Beaming with pride, he gathered his ball and began the steep climb back up. Okay, so you probably can relate to this story. Maybe you're playing with something and it has maybe gone over the fence or gone into someone's yard or gone into somewhere that you had to build up that courage to get it back. So a lot of times with theme, you can also use those life lessons that you have experienced to apply it to the story that you're reading. So with this story, David is playing with a ball that is signed by David Beckham, who is this famous soccer player, and he has now lost it and he has to get it back. And he has to build that courage inside of him to get it back. And he eventually does, but he learns that he had to take a leap of faith to go get it. All right, so let's look at one more theme and see if we can figure out why they chose that particular theme. All right, good versus evil. Now, like I said earlier, it doesn't always mean good versus evil. It could mean good versus bad. Amelia and Dante were like Batman and Robin. No matter what Amelia did to make their classroom a happier place, Dante always did something to bring them all down and ruin the day. Today was field day and the class was abuzz as they got ready to walk out to the field. Gathering in line, Dante started arguing with the teacher. But I want to bring my soda outside with me. I don't care what you say. It's going outside whether you like it or not. Miss Smith's face burned fiery red, and she told the rest of the class to sit back down. As they headed back to their seats, Dante threw the can of soda at the window, but just before it shattered the glass, Amelia intercepted it. The class froze, waiting to see what Dante would say. As his eyes grew wide, the principal came storming in and removed him from the class. Miss Smith breathed a sigh of relief as the rest of the class happily headed down to field day. Dante spent his day in detention while the rest of the class basked in the sunny, happy day. Okay, so with this story, we see that Amelia is the good guy. She's over there wanting to protect her class and make sure that they participate in field day. And then you have Dante, who's really not making really good choices in his story, and he's not really wanting to participate with the rest of the class, and he's doing whatever he can to stop them from going to field day. So you see that good versus bad, or that good versus evil happening here in the story. And then Amelia actually stops Dante from going any further, and Dante gets in trouble while the rest of the class are allowed to participate in field day. So we see that theme, and we probably can relate to this story. Maybe we've had this happen in our own classroom, maybe at home, or maybe in a story that we read, or in a movie that we have seen. But we see these themes throughout the stories that we read, and we also see those life lessons that we can learn from the story. So some things to remember about theme. Theme is not the same as main idea. It is the lesson that the author wants you to learn. Main idea is the main point of the story. So those are two different things. Then you're going to find theme only in fiction. You're not going to see it in your informational text. So you're only going to see it in your literature. And then also, every story has a theme. Every poem is going to have a theme, and every play is going to have a theme or lesson that the author wants you to learn. So next time when you read a story, or you look at a play, or you read a poem, see if you can find the theme or that message that the author wants you to learn.